This is one of the biggest struggles businesses face today, and it is going to affect every single team member, every single associate, everybody in your organization. And if you attempt to go this alone, you're going to be in deep trouble. It's your benefits. See, we used to just say, oh yeah, here's the salary, here's the bonus, here's the commission, and yeah, plus benefits. Those benefits today can absolutely make or break your bottom line. Let me bring in an expert today to talk about the nuances if you're looking to increase your benefits, get super competitive, but not break the bank in doing it. Let me bring in Eric Kaufman with Alliant. So Eric, tell me a little bit about what Alliant does.
So Alliant is a privately held broker consultant. We're owned by our employees, and we work with closely held companies, microcap, small cap, mid cap, and we help them sort to their benefits, risk, and group retirement programs. And what we try to do is provide value by being a resource to them, because they're resource poor organizations. They have Fortune 500 problems. They don't have Fortune 500 resources, and they really need partners that can bridge those gaps.
That's a great way to put it. Fortune 500 problems without the Fortune 500 resources, because it's a competitive marketplace. I mean, it used to just be make the best offer financially on salary and bonus, and you had them. And now there's a lot more that goes into securing and retaining the best talent, isn't it?
Absolutely. When I started many, many years ago, it was a couple $1,000s to provide a quality benefits program. The price didn't move much. Your renewal and management process, data management process, very simple. Today, it's 10x that initial cost. The complexity in rules, regulations, data management, mobile workforces, the demands of culture have changed the employee benefits game. It's one of the most sophisticated financial and cultural transactions a business will ever undertake.
Yeah. So if someone's feeling the pain of this, maybe a business owner, entrepreneur, what size company starts to make the most sense to reach out to you and see these issues? Is it a few people? Is it 100 people? What's ideal?
Alliant is always believed in meeting the clients where they stand. So we've built several distribution channels. So we do have a turnkey solution for the 2 to 100 employer group. That's a group that has very limited pricing and design options, and they really need external resources to help them administer these standardized programs. So we have a whole separate group that works on that. Where I spend most of my time is in the next group, which is what's called large group fully insured or large group self-funded. These are companies with, several hundred plus employees on the small side to many thousands on the high side. And they're designing bespoke programs. Most people don't realize the entire insurance offering, from the wording into the contract to the design of the various benefits, is all customizable. And so what we try to do is find the optimal buying solution for a client for their particular circumstances. And no buying solutions are the same. And that's really the art of what we do, is figuring out how to optimize what a client's trying to accomplish in a long-term, 3-year sustainable plan. We want them to be able to feel like they have actual control of these benefits, what they are offering to their employees, what it's doing to their culture and community, and are they getting the outcomes they need to drive the strategy of the business. And those are things that entrepreneurial companies obsess over, because they have to obsess over them. They don't have the luxury of being wrong the way some of the Fortune 500 companies do.
Yeah, that margin for error is really small at that point. And, those size companies tend to have maybe 1 to 3 people in HR. And I know that whole industry has been kind of turned upside down, and, a lot of outsourcing AI. But there's someone in that department managing this, looking for this. And then they're struggling to put this together because it changes so fast. And man, it seems like every year they're like trying to get a better deal or save some money or beef it up. What's your advice to someone right now who's in that department and is currently just frustrated and not being able to find what they're looking for? How do they reach out to
you? Well, certainly reaching out to me is fairly straightforward. You can call me almost any time. The nature of insurance is people don't make changes until they really feel pain. And by then, it's often too late. It's the proverbial frog in the pot that gets slowly boiled. And so, my best advice to everybody is you have to have a broker consultant partner that's a partner. You don't need a friend. You don't need somebody that takes you to lunch or does those niceties. Those are all pleasant and important things. But if you really want to drive outcomes, you got to have a broker partner that really knows how to drive those outcomes, how to use all the available tools, the marketplace, plan design, uh, uh, creative unbundling of the distribution chain to create value to get you to that optimized buying solution. Clients should not be whipsawed between good claim years and bad claim years. They should be able to have predictable, consistent results over time. And that's achievable, but you need to have long-term partnerships. You got to develop a relationship with a broker. You have to develop relationships with your carrier and vendor partners, because they will be there to help you work through the difficult claim times if they know you're partnering with them. And most people think it's just a marketplace, a grand bazaar where you go bargain every year. And the carriers actually view those clients through it with a jaundiced eye. They're not interested in the transactional business, especially if you're micro caps, small cap, mid cap. They don't need the aggravation of being not partnered every year. They're looking for people to partner, and if the people partner with them, they will be there for them in difficult times.
Absolutely, because that's one of the things that we can see a lot. If you treat it like it's the cable bill, and you're going back and forth every year, it's going to feel like the cable bill, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and everyone has bad years. I mean, claims are unpredictable. Despite actuarial science, we can look at them over a long period of time and get an idea of what they're going to be. But in shorter increments, there can be some pretty wild swings, and it's in those wild swings that the pain is created. And so if you have an optimized buying solution, you're hopefully minimizing those wild swings and bringing consistency to the cost structure. The other component is benchmarking. You have to know where you are in the universe. Out here in California, there are so many tech companies who have their tentacles in so many different businesses. Almost everybody is competing with these large companies for talent. I have a client that was hiring process engineers, and these engineers were turning down their benefits package because they were going up to work for companies in the Silicon Valley. This client was a light manufacturer. They didn't even think they were competing with Silicon Valley, but they were. And so they have to understand that benchmarking, where they fit in the ecosystem, which is not only your industry, but it's your geography. And that once you understand that, you can make better decisions about how you navigate it to get the talent you want.
So I'm going to change gears just a little bit, Eric. How did you get started in this? Was like your third grade counselor says, I think you should go into shopping benefits, or what? What got you interested?
No, you're spot on. Nobody said in third grade raising their hand, I want to be an insurance broker. That's never happened. I got into it by accident. Most people I meet in our industry have very similar stories. As you're in a situation and you're looking for a career or a job opportunity. And in my case, there were some difficult economic times as I was coming out of college, and it was hard to get hired in a traditional corporate sense. In fact, I'd go on interviews, and I was a young man in my early 20s, and I'd be in waiting rooms with men in their 40s and 50s vying for these same sort of entry-level jobs. And that really stuck with me, that I didn't want to be in a profession that would suffer the whims and vagaries of the economic cycle. And one of the nice things about insurance is you can't open the doors of your business unless you have insurance, unless you have risk, benefits, and retirement plans. And that attracted me to the industry, and I started interviewing around, and I quickly realized that these are very sophisticated financial transactions. There's a lot of creativity that goes into finding these solutions. You can build great relationships with your clients and your vending partners. And it's been a very exciting and dynamic career for me, and I've been blessed to be pretty good at it.
No, Eric, that's awesome. Now, tell me a little bit about how somebody goes through the process with you. How do you learn about them? How do you find their needs? What does that look like for them?
Generally, what it looks like is there's some connection, whether it's a referral or some commonality or some type of connection in the business community, and we start out with a very informal conversation, which is, what is it you're trying to accomplish? Why is it important for you to accomplish it, and what are you doing to accomplish those things? And when it comes around benefits, you in your opening you mentioned attraction, reward, retaining people. All businesses want to do that, and they have various dynamics and scales and measurements on how they go about determining whether they're effective in that or not. And that's where we step in and start just having a fact-finding conversation about what you've tried, where you've been, what's been successful, what hasn't been successful. Most importantly, what have you learned about that process up to date? And where do you think you'd like this to take you? And then based on that, we can start bringing our expertise to bear, our resources to bear, which are quite considerable, and help people start designing these optimal buying solutions. We're a big believer in results first. In other words, to hire me, you have to fire somebody. Well, we don't want you to fire somebody just because you enjoy my company or we have a nice conversation. So we'll actually do the work and show you what's possible and where you can go. Your current state, your future state hopefully being significantly better. And if that's appealing to you, then we can talk about how we can be in business together and support each other.
So they get a really good customized look at what this would be, because again, a lot of, you don't want to jump until you know what you're going to land on, right? So that makes a ton of sense, taking through the process. Are you typically involved with like the principals or the executives, or are you in the HR? Like, who's involved in this decision typically?
That's an interesting question, because when I started in the business, this was mostly an HR conversation, but as the cost per pound has exponentially grown so dramatically, it's not only an HR conversation, it's a CFO conversation. Benefits is usually a top 5 line item in the P&L. So it's driving culture, it's driving talent, it's driving your human capital, but it also has a dramatic impact on your P&L. So you end up talking to the heads of HR, chief HR officers, chief people officers, CFOs. And if the organization has an active private owner, they usually get involved in the decision-making process also near the end, when you're finalizing your long-term strategy. So it's definitely a C-suite conversation. It's a multidiscipline conversation. And as I said, the cost and the sophistication has ramped up so high. All sorts of other people are being brought in. I mean, if an organization is large enough to have an internal IT group that manages these systems and employee communication systems, all of a sudden they're involved in the process, because so much of this is now data driven, 360 data feeds, phones for applications and communications, all these things. The day of sending a spreadsheet with your census and elections is decades old. These are not only sophisticated financial transactions, they're sophisticated data transactions. And that's why having a broker partner who has the resources to deliver that type of HRIS IT consulting is a big deal. And not everyone has those resources, and we're fortunately blessed too.
And extrapolate that a little further for me. So where do you see this going over the next year, 2 or 3 years?
Well, I certainly don't see a break in the cost. And there's a whole host of reasons around that, usually around advancements in technology, medical delivery. We're generally Americans, and as Americans, when you stub your toe, you don't really care who you see. But if you have a lump or something serious, you want to go to the best hospital. You want to go to the teaching hospital. You want the best treatment. So with choice comes expense. And so as we continue to advance the frontiers of medicine, you're going to see more choices and you're going to see more expenses. These weight loss drugs are a classic example of a very expensive drug that has very powerful positive consequences. And anybody struggling with weight management, it can be very effective. And when you look at our country, there are a lot of people that are struggling with that. So that's one of the things that drives the cost of the benefits. The other thing that drives the cost of the benefits is again, the sophistication of the transaction, the fact that now you have HRIS management and IT management involved. These are expensive processes. And so it adds to the overall lift and expense. And so what you try to do is create solutions that fit within the construct of not only the budget, but the culture and the outcomes. And there are ways to do that. I can't tell you how many times we've had creative small companies deconstruct their plan to come up with wonderful, creative, cost-effective solutions. And large companies that could do the exact same thing won't do it because they're large. And so their unit cost is actually higher than the smaller company that's been more creative. So there are ways to bridge the gap, and you try to do it, thoughtfully, with forward thinking, bringing good resources to bear, and again, partnering and having transparency with all the partners in the distribution chain. You generally get better outcomes.
Oh, absolutely. Now, your advice for a company that may have gone through this and they're on the other side, they're rolling it out to their people. What's some advice you have on how to get the employees, the team members, the associates engaged in this program? Because you just made them super competitive on the front side, but there's people been with you for a while who go, oh, another change, or they don't pay attention, or they don't even know what's available to them.
Yeah, it's really a multidiscipline, multimedia approach to communications. Often in California, it's a bilingual approach on top of all those things. And we try to meet our clients where they are. We encourage our clients to meet their employees where they are. So if you have deskless employees, remote employees, there's a whole specific set of strategies that are unique to that community, as opposed to people that might be coming into the office and things of that nature. You have people that are engaged in specific functions. You have to meet them where they are, versus just one solution for all types of employees doing different types of work. You have to engage the spouses, often a forgotten constituent in benefit communication and benefit decision making. The reality is spouses have tremendous say on the types of benefits employees select and their use of those benefits. And so we try to create strategies that bring all these various constituencies and communities together, consistent themes of the culture and community and the values of the organization, but using every tool, whether it's mobile, digital, web, in-person, paper, Zoom, et cetera, creating these ongoing campaigns. And they're just not around open enrollment. You have to create a campaign, a multiple year campaign. You don't want to repeat yourself. You want to be fresh. You want to be unique. And so you have to map it out 24 or 36 months in advance, the information that you're going to put out. And certainly open enrollment's a big part of that, but there's so many other touch points. And so what we try to do is sit down with our clients and really design that bespoke communication strategy so they feel they can get the most out of the benefit investment. Employers are buying benefits not because they want to buy benefits, because they're buying what benefits buys for them, which is happy, healthy, productive, present employees. And so we try to design campaigns that make those things happen.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're watching this right now at this point, I'd encourage you to stop struggling with this on your own, or stop trying to Google the ideal solution or asking ChatGPT what to do next. Reach out to a professional, reach out to Eric. Eric, is the best way phone call, email, website, and it'll be somewhere on this video. What's the best way to get started with you?
Certainly a phone call, email, or text. My information's available. If you do email me, there's a link to schedule time with me when I respond. And you can schedule some time on my calendar, and we can have a Zoom and start the dialogue and determine if we're a good fit for you to continue just down this process to see if we should be in business together. It is a process. It doesn't, it's not kismet and the light bulb goes on. There's a lot of discovery and exchange of ideas and thoughts. And as people get comfortable with each other, eventually a business relationship is formed.
And that's something that's not obligation. You're not tied to it. I mean, it sounds like you're doing that. There's really no risk to at least starting that conversation to see if you can have an impact here.
Absolutely. I mean, I encourage people to have other sets of eyes look at their work product and their plans and their programs. I encourage my clients to do those things. Why I think we're really good, and I think we're the smartest kids in the class, and we generally are on top of all the possible options and solutions. It doesn't mean that another set of eyes could find something. And so I encourage people to get a professional set of eyes, develop a relationship. The best thing a CHRO or CFO can have is a strong number two. If they have a good client relationship with a broker, go get a number two relationship. Because if your broker stumbles, you don't want to be developing that in a time of crisis. You want to be able to pick up the phone and have somebody you've developed a trusted relationship with to help you solve those problems. Often my favorite place to be with people is number two, and develop that strong number two relationship, because I know over time we will get the opportunity to be the partner.
Awesome. Eric, now I'm going to ask you, I'm going to change it up a little bit, put you on the spot. What's something that most people don't know about you?
They don't know that my wife and I run 13 desert tortoises. Started with her family, and they had desert tortoises, and then over time, people around us realized that we had good habitats and we take very good care of these animals, and so they often bring us injured or found desert tortoises, and we nurse them back to health and put them in their pens. So we have currently 13 tortoises, ranging from a couple pounds to, I think our largest is a 137-pound tortoise.
Wow. How cool is
Amazing
that?
creatures, absolutely a kick in the pants. They're not slow like people think. You turn your back on a tortoise, will be clear across the yard. They never stop moving. They just don't move quickly, but they are always moving. And believe it or not, they have personalities, distinct, unique personalities around friendliness, playfulness, shyness. It's a lot of fun.
I love it. Well, his contact info's attached to this video. Give him a call, reach out, get on that schedule. I don't know what you'd be waiting for. If you're at any point struggling or losing out on the best talent or having trouble retaining, or you just think this thing is a maze. And by the way, it is designed to trip people up. I mean, there's a lot of things. You try to go about this yourself, chances of you nailing this are minuscule. You put someone like Eric on your team, at least let him go through and see your current situation and what he may recommend. Eric, appreciate you joining us today. Thank you very much for being here. I'll give you the last word.
No, I appreciate your time today and your questions, and you're absolutely right. People are up against one of the most sophisticated and often almost crooked distribution system when it comes to health insurance and the ancillary benefits around it. You really do need a good professional help guide you through it.
Eric, awesome. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate you. Take care.
My pleasure.